Sorry, mate. Dog's barking.
It's all right.
Got many waiting?
Got one just logged in. Said evening. Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We've had a few technical difficulties tonight. Tonight it's a special Beespod. It's a breakdown Beespod. Probably the first time we've done one of these in a long, long time. And I wanted to welcome to the show again, Rossi Eames. How are you doing, Rossi?
Yeah, good. Thanks, man.
Good. Tonight we're gonna sort of dig in a little bit on the performance against Yeovil on Saturday. I mean, we're going to dig in a little bit, go into a bit more detail tonight, but just give us your first sort of impressions of the game and your first sort of reflections and what you thought, how it went throughout the match.
Well, first and foremost, you got to look at the way Barnet defended the whole game, and not just the structure, etc., how they were, but you look at the mentality, you look at the spirit to keep the ball out of the net, the clean sheet, and then you look at every player worked hard for each other. Every player that came on off the bench to finish the game worked hard when they came on, and you look at the goals on the counter attack. They're really, really good goals. We know what McCallum can do. He's an out-and-out goal scorer. Whether it's a chance or a half chance, he's going to snuff it, and he normally puts the ball in the net. And again, you've got Mauro, who will make them late runs into the box from deep, wherever he's playing. If it's a wing back, if it's centre midfield, he'll pop up with a goal, get his body in front of the defender. Or out jump him, and you know how clinical he is from goals he scored in the past and the big day at Gateshead against Gateshead all them years ago. So yeah. I mean, it was a professional performance when you think about it, and away performance. Literally no games, hardly any games to warm up with, and to sort of go into such a competitive game and go into such an important game was always going to be a little bit. It was always going to be a tough battle, but I mean, it's fair to say it was a bit of a smash and grab. I mean, how did what were your thoughts about Yeovil in terms of how they sort of played on the day? Well, with Darren Sol's sides, one thing you're always going to get is they're going to be at it from the start. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to want to move the ball. He plays predominantly a 4-1-3-2. Kind of a flat diamond, as you can call it a flat diamond. It's not really a diamond if it's flat. But where he has that one sitting in front of the back four. Saturday was at Charlie Lee, and I think he used to do it for him at Stevenage. And then, you'll get the front men making him runs into the channels, trying to stretch the play, trying to get between the full-backs and centre-backs and to make a move. Or have it, Barnet on Saturday had the back three, which I felt defended superbly against their two up front.
Yeah.
And then you look at the back four. Wilkinson's a threat and set plays, and you had Stuart Nelson there, who's a goalkeeper who's got a lot of experience and been a champion for Martin at Gillingham. So they had a lot of experience and a lot of players who had been there, done it, got the t-shirt. But then you look at the spirit and the the camaraderie with the Barnet players and the staff, etc. You earn if say you had a little bit of luck on Saturday, you earn that luck. The way you defended, the way they work for each other, they rode the storm at times. But then the only stat that matters in the game is the scoreline, and Barnet put the ball in the net better than Yeovil.
Well, it's true. I mean, I spoke to Notts County, one of their podcasts earlier, or their radio show. And they were talking about, and the guy was saying to me about being effective in both boxes, and to be honest, I mean, looking at the game, pretty much we were. It was a case of trying to cling on as much as we could. But when you've got the firepower that we've got at the moment, it's going to be always we've always got a chance with people like McCallum and Josh Walker in the side. So I mean, looking at the Barnet side. Was there any sort of sorry about this? Was there any surprises with the lineup?
Well, no, I think we're all a little bit not surprised, but taken aback that Sim was injured. Wes and Shaq were injured as well, so that kind of made your mind up a little bit in terms of the starting front players, as we called it, and where we spoke about it on Saturday.
Yeah.
You kind of guess it was going to be a back three, wing backs as well, and they kind of pick themselves in terms of what's available for selection. But with McCann and Walker, what you do have there is power, pace up front. Walker's going to play him behind the lines. He's going to receive in the half spaces on the half turn, and he'll want to get at players. He wants to run with the ball. And the same with Efron. I know he's predominantly been seen wide or up front. And Efron, when he came through the academy as well, he was played in certain different positions because, back then we actually thought, he's going to start off in a wide position, but he might drift in centrally either as a centre forward or a centre mid, number 10, a little bit like Oxlade-Chamberlain did when he first came on the scene. Again, he likes the ball at his feet. So, I can definitely see why he's starting that 10 role. Sometimes, he could have been probably a little bit too high out of possession. Yeah. Which allowed Charlie Lee then to get on the ball and dictate play and be that pivot in midfield that could switch the play, get their fullbacks forward to put our wing backs under pressure.
Definitely. I mean, looking at the first 11, like you said, it was a lot of that we predicted, didn't we, last week when we did the show and the preview show. The one surprise, obviously, that it was Akinola was injured, and then obviously even Wes was out, as well as Shaq. I mean, 3 injuries, and if you look at the bench, with all due respect to the bench, it was pretty threadbare. The options for Darren. I mean, you said about Yeovil, so it was interesting the way they played, and I'm just going to sort of so in the first half, as you can see here, a lot of lines and stuff, but these were my recollections, and maybe you can elaborate on them. But obviously, their diamond, what their diamond seemed to be doing is obviously Lee was sitting and patrolling front of the back four, and Hippolyte was always a left-sided play. He was kind of playing it a little bit like, oh God, who's the guy who used to play for Real Madrid and Man United? And then sorry,
Di
Maria. So he kind of played it like Di Maria. He played it at Benfica, where he starts as a left midfielder, but then sort of pulls to the left-hand side. And what was interesting was their right wing back was coming right up, but the left one was sort of staying. And then Murphy was they seemed to be attacking that space behind Taylor and Mauro. That seemed to be their diagonal, didn't it? So talk me through your observations of that first half and how what kind of things you were seeing and what you were noticing.
Well, with the back three, you're always vulnerable in that space behind, say Harry and Mauro there, and they would have gone, well, we want Murphy to put off the shoulder of Harry, we want Lee to get on the ball, but then to play Hippolyte or Dickinson to get forward and create them 2v1 situations on that side. And I know Darren Sol, he wants to get crosses in the box. He wants final third entries. He wants box entries from his team when they play. And then when you got with that diamond, you have people like Worthington or Skendi making them late runs in the box, which if the midfield don't do their job, that they receive the ball on the edge of the box or in the box to create goal scoring opportunities. One thing Yeovil had to do, they had to be careful on the counter-attack, which we saw, and in the end got punished because you can commit men falling that diamond, but where Barnet had the 3 kind of up front and Mason Clark, Efron, he was half and half sometimes. So when that ball got then recycled back out, they were then set to go on the break and sometimes there was 3v2 situations, there was 3v3 situations because Hutton would have gone as well against Tutonda.
Yeah.
And that left space then for us to counter-attack the counter, if you know what I mean.
No, definitely. It was like the one area that seemed to be like being attacked was this side. I noticed, as obviously as Hutton was going, McCullum was peeling off into this kind of area here, and we saw that for the first goal, didn't we? When broke. I mean, but in the first half, for me, the one concern for me was this Dunn and Adams were really struggling to get a grip on the game because they were being surrounded as soon as they got the ball. These three were literally all over them. And then what was also happening as well, I noticed as well, was when Taylor or Johnson was getting the ball, the lanes into here where these guys were sort of dropping into these spaces, and they would basically the passing lanes into the centre mid were really struggling to get them balls into them. And Dunn and Adams were struggling to just, get any kind of grip on the game or get any passes going. And so it meant that at points, what we were doing is we were looking to basically bypass the midfield and hit it into McCallum or into Walker. So it was looking really scruffy, and they basically, by doing that, they were just completely disjointing our game and making it really tough for us to try and get any kind of rhythm from our game. I mean, was there anything else that you were spotting as well when they were doing in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, the wing backs were quite reserved in the first half, I thought, in Tutonda and Maro, because Yeovil pushed them back so much. There's only so much you can do to get the ball out in areas. Now, if David was saying more aggressive going towards Hutton when they had the ball, that allows then Johnson to look after Doofus, Dunn to tuck around on Worthington, Mara to tuck in this side here, Adams to swing around, but also gives you Ricardo Santos the opportunity to snuff out that ball there as well.
Yeah.
And now if Mason Clark then drops in here, that kills their attack as well on Lee. So they'd have to go backwards or play it long. And when Yeovil went long, I felt the back three in Taylor, Santos and Johnson were excellent.
Yeah.
And then, you look at Scott Loach's start position as well. Any ball that went in behind, he was there to pick up the pieces, as they say, and tidy up.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, where McCallum maybe peeled off to the side, or Walker did, Wilkinson and Collins, they weren't comfortable in doing that. They're not players, or centre backs, in my opinion, that can really, they don't really want to go in the channel. Where you saw the likes of Harry, Elliot, and Ricardo, they're happy to do it. Yeah. Ricardo's played on the right side of a free, very good in the middle. The amount of headers that Ricardo won on Saturday was excellent. Harry, there was one bit of play in the first half where I think it might have been Doofus who peeled off the side of him, and Harry took the ball in his stride, sat Doofus on his arse, and then just played out. Again, comfortable in position once he's got the ball, and then they're trying to build up. But I mean, it would have been so hard for both teams on that pitch on Saturday, because really that's their first taste of competitive action for months, and where they didn't move the ball as fluently as they want. It was going to take time. It was going to take time a little bit, but you got to take the positive out in terms of the shape and the defensive structure, where you can have some tweaks to it still and get better. It must be really pleasing, and a clean sheet, building from the back again is excellent.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely felt, when I'm on reflection, that Darren was kind of potentially had set a trap for Hutton, because Hutton was very adventurous, whereas Dickinson, I felt, was not as adventurous, but Hutton was. And he pushed Tutonda right back. But what was noticeable was that on the counter is, like you said, that ball in this ball in behind in here, we were constantly looking to capitalize on that space that Hutton was vacating when he was up the pitch. And I kind of felt a little bit like our wing backs were, in some respects, blockers. They were just playing as blockers, and then maybe we were looking to break through the centre if we could, centre and then out. And when I'm going to the second half now. There was there was definitely in the second half. 1 second, sorry, I'm just going to clear this. Second half, there was a slight tweak, and it was something that me and you were talking. I think we were texting each other during the game about this. If you wanted to explain what we were talking about during, we were talking about during the game about what the makeup of the midfield and just the little minor tweak that seemed to make a difference in the second half.
Yeah, well, like we said, where you got everyone dropping in now, but in goal side behind Lee, they can't then get out. If you don't give him space on the ball to dictate like a Pirlo type player, there's only one way they can play. It's either backwards or sideways. And I think with the sideways pass that Lee started to play, that allowed David to Tonda to then drive onto him, or Mauro to drive onto him. And what you don't want as a player when you're in possession is square passing, because you're going to get caught out at some point. That you might have a bad touch, or you might have a slow pass that doesn't have that ball speed to get to your teammate. And I felt once they're on the front foot there, that allowed the back three to push up more than the midfielder in Dunn and Adams to get on the ball a bit more. And with the tweak when Elito come on as well, he kind of calmed down.
Yeah.
That play in terms it wasn't rushed. It was a bit more thought about it in between them lines. So where you got the space here or the space there, Elito was very good at picking up them, and then you have more options and passing channels to play into, which then gives Walker and McCallum more time to peel off and pull them centre backs into the channels, or allow people like Mauro or David then to make them drives in. And I think Mauro's goal came from like a diagonal run inside from that wing back position.
Well, it was the two of them. So, I mean, interestingly enough, the two goals were very similar in construction because they're all based around the two sort of both goals were based around driving in this area here, driving through here, in here, and then sort of almost bypassing Lee, because the first one was it Ephraim just muscled out Lee, didn't he? And then he was in on the back. He was in on the back line, wasn't he? And again, obviously that McCallum run out to the left off the shoulder of Collins. He makes it again. And then for the second goal, this time it was Totonda driving through from here into the centre. And whilst he was doing that, Mauro was making a run diagonally from out to in. And Totonda did brilliantly that, because to be honest, where he received the ball, he quite easily could have just played a very safe sideways pass. And instead he saw the space and he attacked the space.
And that really shows the thought process and their talent to play that formation, because if you play that formation well, the fullbacks get on the act. I mean, you might have seen a couple of years ago with Antonio Conte at Chelsea side.
Yeah.
Victor Moses or Alonso would score probably 6 or 7 per season, because it would be Alonso delivering the ball and Moses arriving at the back stick or just on the edge of the box and scoring, or be vice versa. And like you said, when you're defending there and everyone's dropped in here, that allowed then Dunn to push on Worthington and Adams there, Johnson to push on Doofus, Taylor there, and let Santos really deal with Skendi a bit, or vice versa if they empty and fill their space. Because in the running race, I couldn't see any of their front three, or say front two plus the attacking midfield and Skendi, getting past Taylor and Santos and Johnson.
Yeah.
I think they're mobile defenders. I think they read the game well. They're comfortable on the ball. Elliot was so comfortable. He played a 1-2 off the post, which was good to see.
Heart and mouth, that was.
Yeah. And then you got David and Mauro, who give you so much energy in their wing back positions and come up with goods.
No, definitely. I think for Yeovil's main tactic really was pretty much all game was hitting diagonals over. They were trying to sort of skip Harry Taylor, weren't it, behind and in between Harry and Mauro, and a lot of their chances came out. And also the other thing they did as well, which was, the delivery from their set piece was incredible. That they were whipping them balls wickedly into the box, and we did really, really well to really stop, to just hands on deck and just get everything, just put our bodies on the line. And I mean, we had Harry, was incredible. The one off the line from Harry Taylor, probably one of the best goal line clearances I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, and it's a talent in football that goes unnoticed sometimes. Sensing danger, sniffing out danger, and he's seen what's about to happen. And he's there on the line, and the nicest thing is after he's cleared it, he's straight back up. He's squeezing the line up with Ricardo and Elliot, and they're was it 1-0 at that time?
Yeah, it was 1-0 at that point, and then I think it wasn't long after that. I don't think that we went up the other end and killed the game.
Crucial periods in games where that's where you earn your stripes. That's where you earn your win, your 2-0 win, and you got to give full credit to the whole squad for the way they played on Saturday.
No, definitely. I mean, it was the performance itself. We've played better than that, and we've lost. We've played better than that and lost the game. I thought, in terms of a professional performance, getting there, and a committed performance, it was incredible. I mean, for me, Ricardo Santos and Harry Taylor, you could barely split them. At the time, I thought Ricardo Santos, and the more I think about it, and the more I think of the heroics of Harry Taylor, and also the other thing as well, which I thought was incredible. Reece Murphy is a pest. He was really quiet. Harry kept him so quiet. His ceiling is getting higher and higher all the time. He impresses me every single game I watch.
Yeah, I think it's one thing. Is it Murphy and Doofus come off, and Mark Richards and Dagnall came on.
Yeah,
and he couldn't see anything. So you got to look at that going, wow. There's a lot of goals in them 4 players there. But then you look at people like Harry, the young players that are there, I think we all can forget how young they were when they first got thrown in to first team football.
Yeah.
Some was planned, some wasn't planned, some you kind of want to work their way in. But the amount of minutes and the experience that they've had over the last few years is now really showing. It's really showing, and there's some big assets there. Some really big assets to the football club, and credit to the players because they've really worked hard for that. Definitely,
and I suppose it's going to give. It'd be interesting if Wes and Simeon and Shaq, if we can get them back fit for Saturday's game, because I mean, if you look at, all due respect, I know you rate Edwards really highly as a youngster, but I mean, at this, to throw him in a playoff game at an important point, it probably wouldn't be the right time for him. And same with Vasily, again, another talented youngster we've got on the bench. But I think we need to play some. We need to know how on that bench on Saturday. If you were to make any changes, if there was, say, Wes comes back and say Simeon comes back, and Shaq, is there any changes you'd make to the team, or would it be more to do with slightly tweak the sort of the way we set up?
Listen, it's a hard one because that team that started on Saturday, they'll find their rhythm. They will find their rhythm. You hope it's after minute 1. I don't work with the players day in, day out, so it's hard. What you do have there is guaranteed options in Sim, in Wes, in Shaq, who can all score goals. We've seen over the past years. And I'd be picking the team who's trained the best, who's ready to go. Is it Saturday? I guess it's not County again.
Yeah, Saturday evening. I think it's 5. Is it 5 or 5:30 kickoff?
Yeah, so it's options that will give you a headache, but healthy options. You might want to tweak it a little bit in terms of shape. I know you brought up the 3-4-3.
Yeah.
The other day with, say, you could have McCallum as that Giroud forward point, and you could probably have Simmons and Walker either side of him to play in the half spaces there. And you have that options, and you have the two midfielders. Do you go with Dunn and Adams or Dunn and Funguk? It's, you've got options there. Wing backs, I guess, and the back three pick themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
But
because then you've got Elito as well. Is Elito knocking on the door? Because I thought his cameo was showed a lot of what we were missing in the first half. It was composure. He's picking up good spaces. His delivery for the cross was a brilliant cross.
He's another one playing in half space. Is a front three again. He seems to be a player who likes the ball to feet, which you kind of want. You want to play in that positions. Like if you look at, say, a Mane type, or yesterday you had Mason Mount and Willian, and they pick up on the half turn and drive at defences. And with McCallum, he's always going to occupy a centre half and get the better of him, in my opinion.
Yeah. I
don't really know what the Notts County lineup's like. I've not seen them this year, but your money's on Paul.
They've got that. I've forgotten his name. I mentioned his name earlier. I think Enzio or Enzio. He scored the banger.
Crawley.
Yeah, I think that's him.
Yeah.
And he looks a handful. They've got Dennis has scored a few goals this season for them. They've got. I didn't realise they had Sam Slocum playing in goal for them. Max Slocum. Is it Max Slocum or Sam Slocum?
Sam, I think.
Sam. Didn't we have him on loan at one point?
No, that's Max Crocombe.
I got mixed up then. I thought he played. I thought he played for us. So it's interesting actually, because Howard's just said on YouTube that Elito, that's probably the best game I've seen him for us. I'd actually counter that, and I'd say that the best game I saw Elito play was when he started off in the left midfield against Brentford, and then moved into the centre, and he dictated the play. I actually quite like Elito playing slightly deeper, because I think sometimes he can get a little bit lost, but I like the fact that when he's in centre mid, he gets his head up and he pushes that ball through midfield really nicely. I'd be tempted on Saturday to play him next to Dunn.
Sometimes there's always saying, don't change your winning formula.
Yeah, I know you're saying. I just looked at that and I thought that centre mid it was a little bit I don't know, it wasn't progressive enough for my tastes. I like if I've got somebody who's going to be doing a bit of chasing around and closing people down, I want somebody else from deep who's going to be able to move the ball through the line into that third, final third. And I think we struggled a bit in the centre mid to actually get that ball out into when we did, we scored 2 goals through that midfield. But I feel that I quite like the idea of Elito playing next to Dunn, and then him sort of setting off someone like Efren on the counter attack, and or Josh.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about partnerships. All over the pitch, you want continuity, you want consistency, you want the same messages when you're in possession of the ball.
Yeah,
and you want to be clinical again, like it was Saturday.
Yes, I've seen this earlier this season when we missed a lot of chances, but I think we seem to be on such a run that we're getting the rub of the green. I mean, Darren, is it Darryl Searle, his name?
Darren Searle, yeah.
Darryl Searle, yeah. And he was saying he thought McCullum's goal was a deflection, but actually when you look at it, he just gave goalie the eyes, and the goalie Stuart Nelson thought he was going to bend it into the corner, and he. I don't know if he scuffed it or he just. But I think
any goal's a beautiful goal.
Yeah, well, I think the key to it is with Nelson. He was so conscious that McCullum is so deadly that I think he assumed that when McCullum showed him the eyes, as if to say, "I'm going in that corner," he's anticipated thinking, "Why? I'm expecting him to do that. He's such a good player," and then he scuffed it down the centre, and it looked like it was a deflection for all for all intents and purposes. But I'm looking here a bit. Yeah, so I suppose to summarise it, really, it was a smash and grab, but there were little details in that performance which make you realise that actually, that although yes, although we were a bit lucky in points, we'd done our homework on that team, and we managed to sort of be clinical in the way we sort of carried out that plan. I mean, what in terms from your perspective, sort of summing up, what would you say the what sort of the result of the game and the way we played and how that can just sort of take us into the next game.
Yeah, I think you got to take the mentality and the spirit to go again, to keep that, to aim to get a clean sheet, to have that mentality to get your body on the line, win headers, win crosses, stop crosses, win tackles, cover more ground than your opposition player in your position, and again to be good in both boxes. So that is the aim.
So I've just noticed it. Just looking at the comments. On YouTube and Howard reckons he thinks we should swap Elito and Dunn. So he would have Elito playing with Adams. So I suppose we won't labour the sort of the review. Thanks for appearing on the show tonight. It's first time in a while that we've done that sort of real tactical kind of look into the game. Hopefully we'll do a bit more of this now. I've got my Zoom subscription. I'm gonna have to make the most of the payment. So there'll be a few more of these, and also they're quite easy to put together. So thanks, Rossi, again. Thanks everybody for viewing. We'll do it as a podcast at some point when I get a chance to edit it. And good night, everybody. Take care.
See you later, everyone.